Hi, this is Shane Speal, and welcome to Cigar Box Nation TV. This is broadcasting live on Facebook on Good Friday, April 19th, 2019. I'm going to be showing off a lot of cool instruments today, including Wesseh's gas can guitar, and I'm going to be looking at your questions and doing live question and answers as well. Guys, if you can share this on your timeline, share this everywhere. I'm going to be doing a lot of talking. We're going to get into the whole Wesseh stuff. So we've got a lot good going on. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to be getting into this, but I've got a lot of other things. This is one of the actual guitars made by Wesseh Freeman. I am going to tune it up. I'm going to be playing it. I'm going to be showing you guys how he built it. It's good to see Giddy there because this broadcast is brought to you by that man himself, cbgiddy.com. This is his new kit, the Tupelo tenor. This is a kit that's easy enough to make on your kitchen table. All it's going to take is some glue, screwdrivers. If you have wood clamps, that helps, but you could even do it with heavy books and rubber bands in order to clamp the glue together. But this is a 4-string guitar. I have mine tuned to an open G. And so for our sponsor, cbgiddy.com, I want to play a little bit of this and show this. Guys, these kits are a lot of fun. So it's got a lipstick tube pickup in. Right now I've got it plugged into a tiny little battery amp, a Black Star amp, and this is the Tupelo tenor kit, available at cbgiddy.com. If you want the shortcut, go to cbgiddy.com/Tupelo tenor. Those of you that have been following these broadcasts for a while, do you remember the Giddy Laley kit? Well, we've taken the Giddy Laley kit and we've improved on it, the layout, the setup, and then rebranded it. Now, this is the old Giddy Laley kit. The new Giddy Laley kit is very close to this, but it's a lot cheaper. This is the CB Giddy Bento Box Ukulele Kit. This is another one you can put together on your kitchen table. These things are great. 40 bucks for this. Like Philip Taylor said, for 40 bucks, it's the real deal. And whenever they're shipped to you, it is in this very light birch wood, and you can do whatever you want to it. Now, this one, I spent hours on it, and I wood burned it to make it look like old fruit crates. The CB Giddy Bento Box Ukulele Kit, another one from our sponsor of this, cbgiddy.com. And for $40, it's a fantastic kit. I've made 3 or 4 of them already. I love them. They're fun. There we go. The Bento Box Ukulele Kit. It's cbgiddy.com/Bento Box. You can find it there. So it's another great one. And actually, if you guys have teenage kids, especially the girls, teenage girls are into ukulele now, and you want a project you want to do with them, there you go. There's a grandfather, grandkid project right in here. Okay, so let me get out of sponsor mode because you guys are here to see weird instruments and you're here to see the Wesseh guitar. Give me about 5 or 10 more minutes and we're going to get into the Wesseh guitar. But I wanted to show you guys some of the things that I have been working on behind the scenes. Over the winter, I've been collecting more and more strange instruments. Going through history, looking for the weird and unusual things that kind of slip through the cracks. A lot of these instruments were either sold in the backs of magazines around the turn of the century and, the first half of the 20th century, or they were sold door to door by snake oil salesmen, guys promising people that anybody in the family could play these instruments. And usually the instruments were so hard to play, people would get them, they would start a payment plan, $1 a week or something like that, and then nobody would ever learn to play it. They'd put them back in the box, shove them under a bed. Now this is an interesting one. This is called the Hill Country Harp. And what this is, you see, it has some cool, really cool buttons up here. I have never, ever seen somebody come up with something like this. Now, what's missing from this one, and this is probably from the 1930s, what's missing right here is a harmonica holder. This was supposed to give harmonica players the ability to play guitar along with their harmonica. You would put your harp here, you would hold this like this and play, and it had 4 chords. And your bass notes. So you would only be able to play in whatever chords. It was F, C, B flat, and G. You would only be able to play in those chords with your harmonica. But these were sold, I found some original magazine ads for these, and this is somewhere around the 1930s. Now, in going down this rabbit hole of these unusual instruments, I then got into auto harps. And, we've all seen the auto harps in junk stores or seen people play them. Well, there's a fascinating history about auto harps. I found a book about them, found out they go back to around 1883 with a man named C.F. Zimmerman, he was in his late 60s at the time when he came up with the auto harp, but he wanted an instrument that would teach anybody how to play. Now, this is before the Oscar Schmidt Company bought the auto harp patent from him. Oscar Schmidt makes so many of the auto harps. Well, one of the instruments in my collection now, I just got this about 2 months ago. This is an 1883, 84, or 1885 C.F. Zimmerman auto harp. You know what the beautiful thing about this is? There are no cracks. There are no cracks in this, and the felt is still good on the levers. So what I'm going to be doing, I just got strings for this yesterday. I love to get these old instruments, things that slip through the cracks, things that are historic and just that nobody is paying attention to, and I want to hear what it sounded like. That's kind of the fascination for me. That's what got me into cigar box guitars in the first place, was I wanted to know what the music sounded like before the blues. And so I discovered cigar box guitars, and that gave me that sound in my ear of what it may have been like. It's almost like time traveling. So this C.F. Zimmerman auto harp will be playing hopefully within the next couple days. I've got to take the strings off, do some detail cleaning, use some lemon oil and recondition it, and string it up. So look for that soon. And 1 or 2 more of the weird stuff. I just came across prototypes. There's a crazy builder by the name of Richard Bozung in Florida that back in the 1990s, he wanted to improve the auto harp. So he created what's called the Nightingale. This is one of his prototypes. And this is another one of his prototypes. I still have got to get these things tuned up and going, but let me show you what he wanted to do. Now, if you have a standard auto harp, they have, your only chord bars are the ones you're stuck with. With this, he has a movable bridge, which means you can change the tuning on this. And where is it? I'm going to get it into some light here. He has stamped here where you move the bridge up and down to change the tunings. Now, you could change the tunings there, And then he has the different tunings that you would end up putting on here so you know where to go by. In addition, instead of the usual auto harp, I'm going to move that back here. Instead of the auto harp zither pins, he has actual mandolin tuning pegs on here for this one. Now the next one's even more bizarre. And I'm trying not to smash instruments as I'm showing you. I love the crazy inventors. I love the visionaries. And this man is a visionary. He's retiring and was selling some of his prototypes. He did eventually make a Nightingale that was standardized. But on this one, what you can do is, if you want to change the tuning, you can even pull off the levers and change them into new levers, and you just Velcro them back on here. And you're supposed to play these. I think I have this upside down. You're supposed to play these with your head beside it, and as you strum like this, so that it goes into your body. Insane stuff. The Nightingales by Richard Bozong. He even made sure to keep his tuning wrench in the side there, along with all the different tuning labels that you would need. I will get these playing again, and as many of you guys know, I do run the Cigar Box Guitar Museum at Speal's Tavern in New Alexandria, PA. I think eventually I'd like to find another venue for some of the weird instruments that are not cigar box, and I'd like to do displays of those because I have such a massive collection of these crazy things. The reason I got the 1883 auto harp was I want to do an Appalachian church service, and I want to have different instruments in it, but make it sound like old-time Appalachian. Because some people do jazz vespers, where they'll do a jazz version of a church service. I want to do a throwback Appalachian church service someday. Something where I compose everything. So one of these days I'm going to do it. All right, so you guys have been waiting for this. Thank you so much for giving me the time. One more time before I get into Wesseh's guitar, this is brought to you by cbgiddy.com. cbgiddy.com, that's where I get all my guitar parts. And by the way, he's got, for you cigar box guitar guys, Giddy's got a clearance sale going on right now. And I don't know why he put these on clearance, because these are fantastic. Right here, he's got these 12 millimeter piezos. Do you know that the size of the piezo does not matter when you're doing pickups? Buying a big piezo or buying a tiny 12 millimeter has the same amount of pickups. And so I got a whole bunch of these. These are in the clearance. They're pre-wired. These work great on my beer can microphones. They're also going to be working great on some other instruments. So cbgiddy.com in the clearance section. These are mine. I spent my money on these. I highly recommend them to you. Okay, let's talk about Wesseh. Now, we've been posting videos. We've been posting his story. And now I have Wesseh's guitar. As you know, Wesseh Freeman passed away last year. He became a viral sensation on the internet for playing O-Chips, a song for a potato chip company that had been established in Liberia, where he was living. The owner of O-Chips, his name was Satch. I became friends with Satch on the internet. Satch was walking around town with his phone, and he was doing product sampling to the people of O-Chips. And at the time, they had a jingle contest all over social media in Liberia. And so he had his phone, and he sees this street musician walk up holding a gas can guitar just like this. Actually, it's a paint thinner guitar. And the guitar had a neck that was hand carved from a machete. The frets are nothing but coat hangers that were cut, and he used nails to hold the coat hangers in place. The tuners themselves are rusty nails. The tuners are rusty nails. Okay, now ready? These strings are motorcycle brake cables. motorcycle brake cables, and what he would do is unwind them. For the low string, he would do 3 windings. For the middle string, he would do 2 windings. For the high string, he would do 1 winding. Now for this guitar, the high string broke between Liberia and here, so I have a high E string on here now. I'll be going down to the local bicycle shop to get proper cables, used cables, to go back on here. I tried to reconnect the original string that Wesseh had on here, but it broke off. Okay, if you guys, there's many guitar builders on here. Let me show you what he did to build this. So he's got this big hunk of wood. This piece of wood started out this wide, and he took a machete and just slowly chiseled it. The neck goes into the body right here where you see nails. Okay, so the neck goes into the can right here where you see nails. He had used the machete to cut open a hole here. Now, between Liberia and here, that hole became bigger, and I used aluminum foil to jam in there to keep the neck in place. But you have the nails holding the neck here. There is another piece of wood that he jammed down in here. So there's a piece of wood going from the butt of the neck here down to the bottom of the can. And what he must have done, because there's no holes on the side here, and the only hole here is for this neck, is he must have jammed that piece of wood down in there and used his hand and just pushed it in and got it so it was tight. Now remember, Wesseh Freeman was more than 90% blind. If you ever saw the videos of him with the whites on his eyes, he was stung by bees when he was fishing. It blinded him. He had, out of the right eye, I think it was, just a little bit of side sight. And that's how he was able to put all this together. So he used a machete. He used a rusty set of wire cutters. And the wire cutters became his hammer. There is a little piece of wood here that is a bridge. Now I noticed on Wesseh's main guitar, there was nails everywhere up here. And things kept moving around. That's because in order to play this, you continually have to tweak it. He would add a nail here or there. He would add pieces here or there. When I got this guitar, I was wondering to myself, do I put it in a museum and just put it up exactly the way it is? And quite honestly, I was praying about it and just kind of felt that I needed to be performing with this, which means I am going to have to slowly keep going through this, adding nails if needed, moving frets around. Michael Capato said, how are the strings attached to the back? Great question. I'll do this. He has holes back here, and he just twists the wire. Okay? It's tuned. I have this tuned close to his video. This is in an open D triad, which is D, F sharp, A. Now Wesseh was left-handed and he played upside down, which means the low notes were towards the ground. I wanted to give the quick story of how I got to know Wesseh because there were more miracles than anything I've ever seen in my life. It's Good Friday and I'm allowed to talk about some miracles. So we know in 2014 the video came out of Wesseh doing Oche.
It must start flowing. Oche.
And it was him on the street playing for the O-Chips guy. He took that video, put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, it went viral. Millions and millions. I think 17 million was the last time I checked on just one of those social medias. So I went nuts. And I'm one of those guys that if I see something that fascinates me, I follow it. You know, it's follow the white rabbit. It's always that type of thing for me as a musician. That's what brought me to Cigar Box Guitars. Follow the white rabbit. Well, this time I was following Wesseh Freeman. So I started finding whatever contacts I could for him. And that's where I got to know Satch. That's Sachin Ramchandani was the owner of O-Chips. And he was a guy a little bit younger than me, living in Liberia, originally from India, trying to start a potato chip company there. And so he filmed Wesseh. It went viral. Satch made sure to take care of Wesseh. He would buy him cell phones. He'd get him food. He even bought him a new guitar. My job, always. If I don't keep my own life to him, like I want to, that's why they wanted to be praised. My God, my God. Maybe all of my things about me become so. Wesseh was trouble. I mean, he's homeless. He was dealing with a lot, and just it was tough for Satch to keep track of him all the time. Well, Satch ended up moving O-Chips out of Liberia. However, at that same time, I'm still searching for Wesseh. And I did get to speak to Wesseh on the phone. We did some Skype with Satch, and we sent some money to Wesseh through Satch, but everything was always real tough to work with because Satch is a businessman. He's busy doing all his stuff. I wanted to funnel money to Wesseh. I mean, here's a guy playing a 3-string guitar, playing it like a legend, and just blew me away. Well, I wanted to take care of him. So while Satch is starting to go out of the picture, the owner of O-Chips, Kirk Otto, who is probably in here right now in the chat room. Kirk, if you're in here, say hello. Kirk Otto was attending a church service in Texas. And in that church service, there was a missionary named George Ramirez from Texas, and George was going to Liberia. Wesseh was from the town of Monrovia, Liberia. Monrovia is 75 square miles of land in one city with 1 million people. Okay? So to find one person out of 1 million people in one town in Liberia is insane. Kirk Otto's at a church service, meets a missionary who goes to Liberia, shows him the video of Wesseh and said, my friend Shane is trying to get a hold of this guy. We've been watching him. Do you know anything about him? George said, let me contact the pastor in Monrovia, Liberia, and see if he knows, just out of curiosity. The pastor in Liberia is also named George. His name is George Toe. In a city of 1 million people, he texts back and said, yeah, I know Wesseh. He lives in my village. I see him all the time. So, miracle after miracle after miracle. It gets us in contact with Pastor George Toe in Liberia, a man who is a master at Facebook messaging. Many of you people who follow me follow George on there, and George talks to people all the time. And that's how he raises money for his ministry. So I said to George, Pastor George in Liberia, and I said, you know Wesseh, if we send you money, can you get him an apartment? Can you take care of him? And he said, I'll do anything you want. So we worked with Kirk Otto's church, sent money to Wesseh. They prepared an apartment for Wesseh, filled it with food, and bought him clothing. And then he continued to take care of him. So I continued to help Wesseh. At the time, I didn't have a church, and I always felt guilty that I didn't give a tithe out of my paycheck or out of money. I figured I had a little internet company called StubbySlide.com, and I figured, what if I just took like 10% gross of that and started sending it to both Wesseh and Pastor George? Let me tell you something about Liberia. Liberia, it was a country that was founded on ex-American slaves, okay? After they were freed, many of them went back to Africa and started their own colonies in Africa. It is a country founded by ex American slaves who have the same musical roots that we go after for blues. So, again, the rabbit hole, follow the white rabbit. But Liberia was decimated by civil war. And what you don't know is almost all the men were killed. Who's left in there are widows and children. And so this Pastor George in Liberia, he helps out widows and children all day long. So whenever I post pictures about what's going on in Liberia, those pictures are mostly orphans and widows. The country's decimated. And so I was like, okay, let me keep helping George and let me keep helping Wesseh. And I'd send money to George. You know, people would buy stuff off of my slide company, and I would send some money to George. I say, give 100 to Wesseh and give 100 to your church. And then he would send me pictures back of like this, of, I think this was an Easter service last year where he fed them. Well, then I get a call. I got a frantic call from Pastor George last year, and he kept calling me, and I couldn't take the live phone call. And he messaged me. He goes, Shane, you know, get a hold of me now. Get a hold of me now. And I finally got a hold of him, and he said, Wesseh's dead. And I said, what? And he goes, Wesseh's dead. He goes, he just got hit by a car. Wesseh, even though he was almost completely blind, could navigate the streets of Monrovia like a pro. Most people didn't know he was blind. But a car went across, or it was passing another car illegally, plowed into him and killed him. And it was, what was even worse for me is I'm an American. There's certain things we don't do in our culture. And I was receiving post-mortem pics of Wesseh, you know, death pictures from him. And it just crushed me. That hit me at the worst time in the world. And George was just a mess. Here is a man that I asked him to take care of this musician. He stepped up and he helped Wesseh over and over. In fact, he brought Wesseh in as part of his Bible study, that every Wednesday night, Wesseh was the first person there waiting for Bible study. We had been planning on building a school over there and having Wesseh employed as a teacher to teach kids music. I mean, there were so many plans that we had. And then Wesseh, you know, we lost him. So after Wesseh died, I did a quick Kickstarter, and we raised enough money to give him a burial like a legend. George went out and bought him a new suit, bought him a coffin, bought him a gravesite, and even took some of the leftover money and gave it. I guess Wesseh still, his mother is still alive and has a sister, so he was able to give money to them. He had the funeral of a legend, and all his church was around for it. And so we took care of that. Since then, I got to know George, Pastor George. I mean, he's feeding these kids and everything, and I decided, let me keep helping them out. And so I continued to send 10% of Stubby Slide money over to him. At one point, he said, we need clothes for the kids. Can you help us get some clothing for the kids? And I said, sure. So I went to Salvation Army store, and I filled two shopping carts full of clothing for the kids. And I kept looking at all the price tags and trying to, tally up the money in my head for what I had in my pocket. As I'm Miracles. Miracles. As I am putting clothes into the shopping basket to send to Liberia to Wesseh's friends, an African man is standing across from me in the aisle. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I told him I'm sending clothes to Liberia. He goes, "I'm from Sierra Leone. That's the country next to Liberia." He said, "You need to send it to him in a barrel." I said, "What? I was just going to fill boxes." He goes, "No, you send it to him in a plastic barrel." He goes, "I know a guy who runs a company called We Ship Liberia, which is an hour away from you. He will send a barrel to Liberia for $150. Guaranteed." So instead of instead of instead of spending $800 or more to ship through DHS, I bought a barrel from Uline and we filled it with clothes for the kids. Because I miraculously met this guy from Sierra Leone who was standing across the aisle from me. Wait, there was one more story inside the Salvation Army. So I take these 2 carts up to the counter, and the guy at the counter said, "What are you doing with all these?" And I told him I'm sending them to Liberia. He goes, "Do you have letterhead for your ministry?" I said, "No, I do this on my own. I'm not part of a ministry. I just do it." And he goes, hold on. He goes, "We're going to give you the discount. Instead of $1 or $1.50 for these dresses, maybe $2, it was like 25 cents, 50 cents a piece." By the time I was done with 2 shopping carts full of clothing that filled, we had to pack them down into a big 55-gallon barrel, it was $100 in that I had to spend. So there was extra money there. I got the barrel, I sent it to them. The sad thing was they got the barrel right after Wesseh died. And it was almost like timing, where the sadness of Wesseh's loss, it was like right at that time the clothes arrived, and it was almost like Wesseh's spirit got it there. I'm continuing to help Pastor George in Liberia. Kirk Otto was talking to his missionary friend who goes to Liberia. His missionary friend was there in October and hung out for 10 days over there. I got to talk to them both. And while he was over there, Pastor George in Liberia said before Wesseh died, he made new guitars. Now, this was one of the things Wesseh and I had been working on. I wanted him to send me his guitars, and I was going to try to sell them for like $1,000 a piece to rich people or fans, whoever, and then send all the money back to Wesseh. Well, he died before we could get it done. See, the postal system and everything over there is so corrupt. It's just corruption everywhere. So the only way I could get this guitar back after Wesseh died was that American missionary brought it back to Texas. He brought 2 of them back. He brought one back for his ministry, and then Kirk Otto said, "Let me take this and send this to Shane." So I just got this, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Kirk Otto. This is just like the guitar in his videos. I have pictures of him making this. I will be doing more about this. I mean, this guitar deserves a book on its own. Made by his hands, and it's just, some guitars mean something while other guitars mean everything, and this guitar means everything. Yeah, Giddy was out there. There's a lot of comments going on, and I'm sorry, I was doing my talk, but Giddy said Glenn Watt and Ben Giddy built Wesseh a brand new oil can guitar, and we sent that to him as well. And right before he passed, we made sure we got him some new guitar strings for it. There's just so much, but he's my Liberian connection, and now I want to do everything I can to help Liberia. So for Wesseh's honor, I'm going to do 2 songs on this one. First one, I'm going to do his song. I've transcribed it the best I could, because his accent and the way They talk English over in Liberia. It's a lot different than the way we talk in America. So for Wesseh, the first one is "Oh Chips." Here we go. Hold on, we gotta tune this. Nothing but a nail right there. There we go. Close enough as we can for rock and roll. Oh chips, oh chips, oh chips, oh chips. There is always something more for you. Very good, very nice, very yummy. Oh chips, oh chips, oh chips, oh chips. Every person on here purchase oh chips. It can be whosoever on an island or St. Paul. It is there for you. Come and take you from the storm. I can. Very good. Oh chips, oh chips, oh chips, oh chips. Very nice, very nice, very good for you and me and Liberia. Very delicious for me and Liberia. Every Liberian, welcome more chips. Oh chips, oh chips, oh chips, oh chips. For Wesseh, oh chips. So now, before I do the second song, I'm going to try to tune this the way Wesseh would tune it. Because, did you notice that these frets are at angles? I always thought it was just wrong. He had these frets at angles for a reason. With the high strings and break cables and everything that he's using for this, those strings move around. And you have to have the weird angles on some of these to make it work right. That one is a little, is that, if I move this bridge up here, so I'll try to find the middle ground here. So if you missed it earlier, I did show how he used the coat hangers as frets. And he has these bent nails holding the coat hangers. Right before broadcast, I put a little screw here to hold this one. I'll replace that with a bent nail. I wanted to wish everybody a happy Easter. Christ is risen indeed. Christ brought me to Wesseh, and I just want to thank God publicly for all the miracles that I saw. From hooking me up with Satch from O Chips, then hooking me up with Kirk Otto, with Immersion Outfitters Ministry in Texas, then to Pastor George in Liberia, to the unidentified guy from Sierra Leone, to the guy at Salvation Army, to all the people that have supported Wesseh and Pastor George. And just, I've seen nothing but miracle after miracle. I'm going to play a guitar made by a blind artist, and I'm going to play a song by a blind gospel artist. Before I go, I want to do one more song. Blind Willie Johnson, Let It Shine on Me. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let it shine on, let it shine on. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let it shine on, let it shine on. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. My Lord had done just what he said. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Heal the sick and raise the dead. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let it shine on, let it shine on. Let it shine from the lighthouse shine on me. Let it shine on, let it shine on. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. I know I got religion and I ain't ashamed. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Angels in heaven don't shine my name. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let it shine on, let it shine on. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let it shine on, let your shine on. Let your light from the lighthouse shine on me. We say thank you for the guitar. Kirk Otto, thank you for making it happen. Pastor George, if you're watching, I love you. Thank you. For everybody, thank you for being my family on here. I want to thank cbgiddy.com, the fantastic cbgiddy.com, for all their sponsorships. My name's Shane Speal. If you want to continue helping me help Pastor George and the kids, just check out my little site, stubbyslide.com. I still send 10% gross of everything from there over to Liberia. My wife walked up to me after putting taxes together in December, and she said, "Do you realize that you sent $10,000 to Liberia last year?" And I want to shovel money. I don't want to send money to Liberia. I want to shovel truckloads to those guys. So, yeah, that's what happened with Wesseh. That's what happened with me. My life will never be the same. Happy Easter, everybody. Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. I will be playing this in concert once I get things going with this. Yes. It's a Giddy Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. It's a Giddy Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. And it's coming to you live from Shane's basement today. It's a Giddy Gang show. 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 It's a Giddy Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. Happy Easter, everyone. Love you. Bye.